Hey, welcome back to my channel, Endless Pages. I'm Liv. Welcome to another video. Today's video is my reading wrap up for the month of July. So I had an abysmal reading month, so this is going to be one of my quickest wrap ups I've ever filmed. I was meant to be participating in the indie Accords. I only read one indie book for the whole month, so a big fat fail. Go yell at me in the comments for such a crappy effort. Kind of in my defense though, I feel like I've been in like a slump for like 2 and a bit months, so that's kind of my defense. But yeah, this is going to be a very short and sweet wrap up. I'm just going to start with the 2 graphic novels I read at the start of the month. This was because I just could not pick up a physical I couldn't pick up a thick book, so I thought graphic novels was the way to go. First of all, I read Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. Loved this, gave it 5 stars. This is about 2 people who were on opposite sides of this galactic war, and they risk everything by bringing a child into the world. I thought this was a great first volume of a series. I sometimes struggle with manga and graphic novels in terms of really getting into the series, because a lot of the first volumes are super slow paced, and I understand why they need to be. They need to set up the story and like the whole world, but I feel like this was a great insight and setup into the world, but at the same time was still fast paced. So it had a great balance of learning about our characters and the world, and still leaving a lot of intrigue about their backgrounds and all of that stuff, but at the same time still having a fun, fast-paced story where I was constantly engaged with it. And I also loved the art style. I thought it was gorgeous. I loved the colors. I loved all the character designs. All the different creatures' looks were just so visually engaging. And yeah, a cool cliffhanger ending, so I cannot wait to start the next volume. So 5 stars. I really loved Saga. And then I picked up another Brian K. Vaughan graphic novel, and that is Paper Girls Volume 1. This one, what did I rate this? I think I rated it at 4 stars. I feel like maybe it's a bit more of a 3.5, 4. I'm still iffy about that. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars. So this is set in the 80s, and it's about 4 like 12-year-old girls who are paper delivery girls, and this kind of whole supernatural plot starts happening in their town that they accidentally uncover. This one was good, and I've got the next volume. I'm going to continue with the series, but it was really confusing, and I feel like it was kind of a mistake reading it straight after Saga, because I loved that, and maybe I'm comparing the two too much because they're the same author. Yeah, I loved the art style. I thought it was cool, and I definitely will be continuing on. I'll just be really kind of reluctant and lower my expectations going into the next volume, and if I don't like that one, I might not continue with the series. But I think it's got a really cool plot. I like that it's set in the 80s, but just a little bit confusing and just didn't engage me as much as Saga did. So yeah, not a lot of thoughts on the graphic novels, but that's how I started the month. Next up, I read an actual book. This is one of 2 books I read this month, so I wasn't kidding when I said I had an abysmal reading month. That is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Is that how you say her name? Yeah. I really didn't think I was going to like this book, but I did. So this is about Princess Lyra and Prince Elian. Is that his name? Yeah. So Princess Lyra is like a siren princess, and Prince Elian is like the heir to the most powerful, I don't know, kingdom in the world. I didn't think I would like this book because of the siren plotline. It's not something I would usually go for. I don't even know why I picked this book. I think I picked it up because I saw it in a booktube video once. Was this book super YA? Yes. But I still had like a lot of fun reading it. It was fast paced. I liked the kind of enemies to lovers. I liked Lyra's character development and growth. I again will say this time and time again, I'm a sucker for someone making like a love interest making you a better person and making you want to be a better person. I will always love that trope. It always warms my heart. I like that it was a little bit reversed too. So we had the female character being a bit more morally grey. It was refreshing for me. I normally read morally grey male characters rather than female. So I liked that change of dynamic a little bit as well. Were there super like almost cringy moments? Yes. And was it so bloody predictable and such a predictable ending? Absolutely. But I was enjoying it so much that I just overlooked that, and I didn't mind that it was cringy and very YA, because I know I usually use it was very YA as a critique rather than praise for it, but I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was just so desperate to pick up a book at that point, and this was definitely the right book to pick up because I had a good time reading it. It's not, you know, the most amazing thing you'll ever read. It's not this incredible, beautiful writing, but it was still a fun time and I still enjoyed it. So I rated this 4 stars. I had a good time. So the final book I read in July was an indie book, the only indie book I read this month in the indie Accords. So this is written by an Australian author, which I was glad the only indie book I got to was an Australian indie book. This is basically about this 16-year-old girl, 16 I think, yeah, called Yin, and Yin goes to this wealthy kind of private school in Australia, and she's abducted. And I went in with the expectation that it was about the abduction and like figuring out that kind of side of it, but I clearly either didn't read the blurb properly or just assumed that's what it was going to be. But rather the story took a turn to being about I guess the implications of the people around Yin, and yeah, a kind of commentary on female disappearances, female abductions, how schools handle it, how police handle it, how the media and society handle it, and yeah, a bit of commentary about race in a way as well, like in terms of how the media and people react to different types of people being abducted. So a white pretty young girl being abducted, a wealthy person being abducted compared to maybe a person from a lower socioeconomic status, or a person of colour. So kind of a real commentary and reflection on how society actually reacts to different types of girls going missing, which was very relevant, I guess. Yeah, so at first I was like, I hate this book, I might DNF it. The first like 100 pages I would say I really didn't like. It was really mainly focused on, it was like dual perspective, like 2 main girls, one main character who didn't really know Yin, who just happened to go to the school, and then this other girl who was like the popular girl. And at first I was like, this is reading like an American book, like this is not how bullying happens in Australian schools, and this is not how Australian high schoolers talk. So at first I was like, this seems very American, even though it's written by an Australian author set in an Australian high school. So at first that was really like annoying me and really taking me out of the book. And then once like the first 100 pages is done, I was obsessed with the book. Like it was really, really focused on the impact of the people that get left behind, the impact on all the girls, the impact on Yin's friends, how they deal with it, how the school deals with it and handles issues around that. Yeah, that really like, it was really like, it left an impact on me and really affected me. It was like very well written. Yeah, just don't bother with the first 100 pages. It just gets really good after. Yeah, so it ended up being a really confronting book. A little too close to home in terms of being a woman, I guess, and the constant thoughts and fears that we have for our safety. So yeah, I ended up being really, really obsessed with this book. I loved it. I loved how it handled the issues of women and women's safety and the responses to female abductions, and I guess the things that you don't think about as much is how, yeah, how I said before, how the media and people react to different types of women going missing, and how that affects the investigation. And yeah, it was actually a really beautiful book in the end. I really loved it. The character that I hated at the start, at the first 100 pages, drove me nuts, ended up being my favourite, and I loved her and how they dealt with her, and the effect that Yin's disappearance had on her. So yeah, I'm rambling. I rated it 4 stars just because that first 100 pages really bugged me. But yeah, I thought it was a beautiful book, and yeah, I was thoroughly surprised by it. So those are the 2 books and 2 graphic novels I read in July. I'm still slumpy as I'm filming this, so I have no idea how my next month's wrap up is going to turn out. But I relatively had a good reading month despite that. I still managed to read 2 books and enjoyed both those books, and read 2 graphic novels and really enjoyed Saga. So it's not like I had a horrible reading month where I didn't enjoy anything I read. I still enjoyed stuff I read, just didn't read a lot of it. So that's okay. There is always more time next month, hopefully, to read even more better books. Thank you so much for watching this quick little wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what was your most disappointing read of July, because I feel like I always ask what's your best read. So yeah, what was the book you were most disappointed by in July? For mine, I'd say Paper Girls would be my most disappointing out of the lot. As always, all my social media links are in the description below, and I will see you in whatever video I post next. Bye!